Oh, you know what we skipped over? We missed.
Thulis.
I think
Thulis,
no. Right after we cut off your Johnson thing, we go back to the bowling alley, and that's where we have the encounter with Sam Elliott.
Oh, we definitely.
But that's where he's talking about.
What
do you
does
guys have
he
a
need a
theory
stick for? Yeah.
On the stranger, on Sam Elliott, because something new occurred to me this week that I don't know how it never did before.
Well, he's in a lineage with the metaphysical characters that appear in Coen Brothers films, for sure. I think the gag is that
for sure.
Yeah, I think the gag is he means nothing. Like there's no significance to him. He's a framing device in the context of this film, but all the things he's talking about are sort of just it's just sort of very pat, very shallow observations, and that's kind of sort of the illusion of sort of gravitas.
But my theory this time is that he is actually an acid flashback of the dudes. He mentions later about the occasional acid flashback, and the way he's introduced, the way it like zooms in, and the dude's sitting there kind of stewing, but you see him like kind of like change his eyes, like look around, like, oh, what's that? Like something has happened there, and of course, we never see him interact with anybody except for the dude and the off-screen bartender. That we never get to see Gary the bartender.
Well, he interacts with us though, separate of the dude. I mean, he is talking to us throughout the film.
In a way to explicitly do what you were talking about earlier, John, which is sort of validate the dude's laziness as a principled life choice that is important in some way.
As mythic, yes.
And that is exactly what the dude's subconscious would be selling him, you know?
Okay. He's like, yeah, I am lazy, but hey, aren't we all lazy or something? Exactly, yeah.
I think I'm lazy in a way that, like, Gary Cooper would respect if he were still around.
I do think there's something funny, and I don't know that this is probably not on purpose, but the fact that Sam Elliott seems so out of place because he's this like cowboy, but he is actually from Sacramento. So Sam Elliott is like a California character, but he just seems like he's from Texas.
Yeah, he's just got the voice.
He's just got the voice for some reason. Like all Sacramentoans sound like that, I think. Until proven otherwise. Huh?
He's got voice for miles. And you're right. He seems so out of place in the bowling alley, and yet, because it's LA, no one's ever that out of place.
Right.
Like no one, you don't have somebody dressed up as in Sam Elliott cowboy gear can walk into a bowling alley, and you're not going to have a ton of questions. Just, I don't know. Maybe we're on set sometime recently, or maybe you're just a weirdo. There's plenty of those.
Yeah, we got horse ranches up in the hills, obviously. So he is outside the narrative, though, in this way. He's mythical or a mystic figure. It's such a great framing device, and it's so iconic and memorable and perfect, and it's kind of the Sam Elliott role in a way, which is, I guess, in the way that it just uses all of his persona explicitly. Like this is, the mustache is a character unto itself. It is, it's so symbolic, but of what? What is the purpose of this mythic framing in The Big Lebowski? Because it explicitly rejects this meaning anything, like there's no greater point to any of this. That's sort of the whole point. And so why are they, why are these Greek gods that we're dealing with again? That he's the most lazy man, the avatar of laziness. These characters have importance and sort of, nouns as names, between the dude and the stranger. And they obviously do a lot of this kind of mythologizing of their characters in, from the most mundane to, the biker, the apocalypse in Raising Arizona. It's just a piss take in this, though, as far as I can tell.
We also have the Jesus.
We do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is this the first time we see the stranger? Because he does the voiceover at the beginning.
Yes.
So there's something very funny about that, too, where it's like you hear this voiceover. And then one of the characters just runs into the guy that's doing the voiceover, happens to run upon him. Like that's like, I don't know if I don't have a greater meaning to that, except that I just think that that's a very funny way to like suddenly introduce someone that you thought was just a voiceover.
I kind of love that he's an extension of the dude, actually, Al, because I mean, you can almost create a sort of mythology around that if you're with that in mind, because he's only corporeal in the bowling alley. Right. In the home base. That's the only time
he's totally team dude.
Yeah, well, he's omniscient. He sees everything the dude does and views it as a story.
Yeah, and generally approves of it, you know.
Oh yeah, I think it's great. You know, I finally saw something great, and it was worth it just because I saw something I couldn't understand, and it almost is like a second personality of the dude that is sort of observing and commenting on his life and the things that he's doing in the moment, and kind of putting a mythic framing on it.
Yes, and a more traditionally masculine one.
Yes.
You know, if he has any anxieties about how his lifestyle makes him not a man.
I like this. This is
stranger
great.
refutes that.
This is kind of explaining the mythic framing to me. Is that's kind of just how he sees himself subconsciously.
And even as I say this, though, I only buy that like 65%.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Like
it's not meant to be understood exactly.
Right. And